As your fund, as Endiya, what's the plan for 2018? Are you going to, because we're not seeing that many investments, right?
Yeah, no, I think this year has been very active. 2017, I think 2018 is also going to be a very active investment year for us. I think during our informal conversation, I mentioned that majority of these folks, whether it's Darwinbox or Hansel or KIST or Inner Chef, all of them have raised follow-on rounds of capital, multiple rounds of capital, actually.
Congratulations
Thank
to
you
all
so
of you.
much.
Yeah.
I think, as all credit to entrepreneurs, a bit of luck, I think a little bit of work from our side, I would say. But I think we will make another 4 or 5 investments, definitely. And one of the things we said, Shradha, was, it was not just the way I said, it's not going to be a spray and pray approach. We also said we will do 100% of Series A's. We will do our pro rata in all of Series A.
Wow.
And if possible, even Series B, which means we wanted to make only a certain number of bets and reserve capital for them.
Yeah.
And today we have done that. Majority, almost all our companies, we have gone and invested in the Series A again, either pro rata or super pro rata.
Yeah.
So I think a portfolio of 15, 16 companies, allocation of around anywhere between 10 to 15 crores per company is the strategy.
So are you looking at a 10-year cycle?
Yeah, it is. And I think even in tech, outside of even healthcare, I think it takes 2 years to find that product market fit. I think once you get to that product market fit, year 3, 4, 5, 6 are the years where you accelerate. And if you're accelerating, you're a market leader, and it all depends on the entrepreneur. If an entrepreneur says, okay, somebody wants to stop my journey, and there's a good reason for me to stop my journey, and if they get excited, then that results in an exit. Or if they say, no, I'm going to go all the way, so then they have to go raise a Series B or a Series C kind of a capital. And it's very important. I think the way I look at it is that always, to me, I'm more worried about an entrepreneur. Partly maybe because, I've been an entrepreneur, in my earlier life. It is a 1 out of 1 for that entrepreneur.
Yeah.
For a VC, it's a portfolio game. Even 2, 3 of them do well, I can talk about it in the press and I can show the returns and I may say still I did a good job. What about that entrepreneur who spent 8, 10, 12 years, right, in that one single company? What happens? While, there's law of this probability and, all these humongous amounts of data that talks about only 10% of them being successful, at least you want that to be a meaningful result, for them. So I think in the end, they need to make the decision. So sometimes these are very tricky decisions, right? Where they come in and say, hey, somebody else raised money, should I go raise money? Or I'm getting a good offer. You may not get your 20x return, you may only get 4x or 6x return.
Yeah.
But it's that entrepreneur's decision that is more important, than that the VC's decision. So for us, I think next year is going to be an active investment year, and then we also sit together to think about, what is our future going to be like.
But I think your future is going to be very bright, right? Already you have all the markups on your investments. Are you going to be increasing the size of your, because we would like investors like you to be investing a lot more and have a large corpus. Are you going to increase it?
So we feel that, coming to the large corpus, the biggest challenge, the 2 things, right? So first piece is our calling and what we get excited. I think you can independently talk to some of our entrepreneurs to hear what they say without us. So one of the things is that, we said we're going to go in and figure out, like that co-founder VC, right? Help them, on the product roadmap and then the business model, pilot customers, partners. We are on the calls, analyst calls with Gartners and others, we've done that. I mean, Abhishek has been on several calls with Gartners or Foresters, figuring out, working with the portfolio companies. So we'll stick to that thesis of definitely pre-Series A and, kind of go do Series A. That's one thing. The second thing is that, what I see, if I'm not able to return like 3 times, the investment, right, in the fund, if it's a $100 million fund, let's look at it, right? So that's $300 million of returns to our LPs.
Yeah.
So if my ownership is roughly 20%, right, it's not going to be more than 20% because there'll be multiple investors in a startup. It's going to be more in the 15 to 20% range. So if 20% of my ownership has to result in, $300 million, actually that means I need to have portfolio exits of $1.5 billion.
Yeah.
That's for a $100 million fund,
Yeah.
right? Whereas at a $50 million fund, that's a $750 million kind of exit, right? We all know, kind of that is a really tall order unless one wins a lottery.
Yeah.
So to me, I think a combination of both, the calling, which means, we want to participate and be there, with the entrepreneurs, that's what we get excited about. And also to be able to produce decent returns, hopefully at least on paper and in design. In practice, what happens, I think time will tell, right? For those reasons, I think we're not going to be a very, very large fund. We may be, I think to me, a 500 crore fund is a right size fund.
Okay.
I feel for India, because then you can allocate around 20 crores,
Yeah.
right, per company.
Yeah.
So that's like you have a portfolio of 18 to 20 companies.
And your DNA would always be there to be very invested in all the
Absolutely,
companies.
right? Just
Yeah.
like first
Yeah.
round capital.
Yeah.
I mean, they have plenty of unicorns,
Yeah.
but they've never grown in size.
Yeah.
If you look at, I mean, even Founders Fund for
Yes.
that matter, right? I think lowercase. So I think all of these guys pretty much stuck to that kind of a thesis, and we believe that if I have, $3 to $4 million that I can give, allocate per company, and go to work.
Yeah.
I think also there are lots of good brand names and big brand names that have hundreds of millions of dollars in corpus, who are willing to deploy lots of dollars, right?
Yeah.
I think if it passes their litmus test,
Yeah.
hopefully us doing the work upfront,
Yeah.
will allow our companies or, with these great entrepreneurs to go raise follow-on capital from all the great funds out there.